What is up, car addicts? In this video we'll be talking about this week's Dumb Money event week, as well as the newest additions and discounts as well. This event week is for November 10th through November 16th, 2022. So for new content this week, we have the 10F Widebody that was finally added today as the 11th drip feed car, which means we only have one drip feed vehicle left for this DLC, which is the Sentinel Classic Widebody. Now this one might release next week on the 17th, but seeing as Rockstar keeps skipping weeks for these drip feed cars, it might even release on the 24th. But anyways, the current prize ride for this week is the Casco. Now this car was on the prize ride about a month ago when the regular 10F released, so very weird how they're repeating it so soon, but anyways, this car is primarily based on the Maserati 3500 GT and the Ferrari 250 GT as well, and has a normal price of about $900,000 and a trade price of just under $700,000. To get this car for free, you have to place top 1 in an LS Carmate Series race for 4 days in a row. Now in terms of performance, this car is in the Sports Classics class and is around 15th place in that class, which is pretty decent, plus it has a very respectable top speed as well. However, do bear in mind that this car basically has no visual customization. In terms of the test ride vehicles for this week, we have the Segoy, the JB700W, and the Furia as well. And for next-gen console players, we have the Brioso as the HSW test ride vehicle for this week. Now, in terms of the casino podium vehicle, we have the Rebella GTS. So this vehicle is primarily based on the 4th gen BMW X5 and has a normal price of just under $1.2 million. In terms of performance, it's in the SUVs class and is in top 5 for most tracks. However, it's still a ways off the pace of the much cheaper Toros, but regardless, it's still a nice SUV with great customization and is pretty nice to drive as well. In terms of the dealership cars for this week, for luxury autos we have the Ocelot R88 and the Progen PR4 as well, and for Simians we have the Conjo SJ, the Comet Safari, the Komoda, the Ignis, and the Ballista Conjo as well. Moving on to discounts, in terms of property discounts, we have 30% off the arcades this week, as well as 30% off the upgrades and renovations for them as well. This property is needed if you want to host the casino Heist, so I highly recommend getting one if you don't own it already. Moving on to vehicle discounts, we have 30% off the Furia. So this car is in the supercar class and is around mid-pack in that class, which isn't too great considering its price tag, but it does have some pretty good customization and an active aero spoiler, so I suppose that's something to consider. Next up, we have 30% off the VSTR. So this car is in the sports class and is around 30th place in that class depending on the track, which isn't bad for a sedan, plus it has some great customization as well and is a ton of fun to drive. Moving along, we have 30% off the Komoda. So this car is in the sports class as well and is around the same pace as the VSTR, plus it also has great customization and again is also a very fun one to drive. Two very good performance sedans on sale this week. Next up, we have 25% off the PR4 and 25% off the R88 as well, both of which are a lot slower than the BR8 for track performance. But if you're trying to maybe build a race car garage or something like that, I'd say these are pretty decently priced, but I feel they should have been 30% off, not just 25%. Moving on to the 7 San Andreas website, we have 30% off the Ballista Conjo. So this car is in the compacts class and is within top 5 in that class. However, there is a pretty significant gap between each of the top performing compact cars, so really only buy it if you like the way the car looks, the customization and all that stuff. Don't really buy it for performance. Next up, we have 35% off the Drift Yosemite. So this vehicle is in the muscle car class and is in top 10 for most tracks. However, it does have that weird feature where it locks up the rear wheels for drifting whenever you take corners at lower speeds, so do keep that in mind. Moving along, we have 30% off the Retinue Mark II. So this car is in the Sports Classics class and is in top 5 for performance, and even the King on some tracks as well. It's just an absolute beast how quick this little car is and how well it handles. However, if you're on next gen, the HSW Turismo Classic is still the king. Next up, we have 40% off the Segoy. So this car is very similar to its real life counterpart with its design and has some great customization as well. However, I personally don't like the way it drives. The front wheel drive configuration with the power that it has is extremely strange, and it's one of the slowest vehicles in a sports class. Because of this, I just don't like driving it at all. Moving on to the Warstock website, we have 35% off the Zaba. So this vehicle can of course drive on water like the real Sherp ATV it's based on, and can survive about 14 homing missiles before it blows up, but it's very slow and has no weapons, so do keep that in mind. Next up, we have 30% off the JB700W, the ultimate James Bond car with the features like the actual working optional fender mounted guns, unlike the regular JB700 where they don't work, the oil slick upgrades, etc. It's a very, very cool car. And lastly, we have 40% off the RC Tank. A pretty significant discount on this RC vehicle that's pretty OP depending on the situation. In terms of login unlocks, you can get this K-Rose t-shirt and the Statue of Happiness t-shirt as well, just for logging in this week, which is pretty cool. Now, if you complete a casino heist this week, you'll unlock the Diamond Strike Vest. Not really all that special looking, if I'm being honest. Moving on to Double Money, we have Double Money NRP on open wheel races, jailed contact missions, and the adversary mode hardest target. In terms of heist bonuses for this week, we have Double Money NRP on the Humane Labs heist, which would make the payout about 2 million, which seems like good money, but remember that this heist must be done with 4 players, and you have to share that payout between the 4 of you, so I highly doubt anyone will be doing that heist this week. And lastly, we have a 50% payout boost on the casino heist. Plus, diamonds are also back as casino loot on top of that, so this can definitely be a good way to make some good money this week with a friend. And to help even further, Rockstar has also cut the setup costs for the casino heist in half as well. Moving on to the Prime Gaming bonuses for Prime Gaming members only. So again, same as usual, we have the free $125,000 you get for logging in every week. Plus, if you log in any time between November 3rd and December 7th, you'll get a one-time login bonus of $500,000. And lastly, this week's RC Bandito time trial is Vespucci Canals. This week's normal time trial is Sawmill. I highly recommend a fast bike such as the Hakachu Drag, Shotaro, or Batty 801 for this time trial. In terms of the premium race for this week, we have the Supercar Race Senora Freeway. I highly recommend the Vest 8, Emerus, or Krieger for that race. And if you're on next gen, I highly recommend using the HSW Vest 8 or the HSW Weaponized Ignis for this race. And lastly, for next gen console users, the HSW time trial is Del Perro Beach. As always, the HSW Hakachu Drag will be the best one for these. In terms of my vehicle discount pick of the week, I'm going to have to go with the Retinue Mark II. It's an absolute sleeper, and some people really underestimate how fast it is and how well it handles in a sports classics class. And on old gen, it's extremely competitive against the Turismo and the Cheetah Classic, and even beats them on some tracks. So really good buy here, although it is still pretty expensive even with that discount. Anyways guys, hope this was helpful. Overall, I think this is a pretty good event week, honestly. Finally got the 10F Widebody, we got that casino heist bonus, diamonds are back, tons of vehicle discounts, some other double money opportunities as well. Just an overall really good week. Anyways guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.